Oh, yeah? I'm sorry. I was...
Oh, that was good. Oh, that was so good.
Sorry.
My parents and I were just having dinner here.
Oh.
Hello, I'm Gwen. Sam's cracking up.
Are you gonna pull your pants down?
Ready.
We got it. We got it under control.
A big dick and a way bigger dick.
Oh my God!
And action.
Hi, Peter.
Hi.
Okay, imagine you're in the middle of a super important scene in a big Hollywood movie. The cameras are rolling, the lights are on, everyone is ready, and then someone starts laughing. Not a little chuckle. We're talking full on, can't breathe, falling apart laughter. And suddenly, the whole set loses it. That is exactly what happened to some of the biggest stars in the world. And today we are going to talk about the most hilarious bloopers where actors simply could not stop laughing no matter how hard they tried. This is going to make you smile, make you laugh, and honestly make you love these famous people even more because at the end of the day, they are just like us. They laugh at the wrong times, they mess up their lines, and sometimes they do the most unexpected, ridiculous things on set. So let's get into it. Let's start with one of the most iconic actresses in Hollywood history, Julia Roberts. Now, Julia Roberts is known for her big, beautiful smile and her loud, joyful laugh. And in one famous blooper, that laugh showed up at exactly the wrong time. She was in the middle of a scene with the incredibly charming Richard Gere, and something he did, just something natural and spontaneous, cracked her up completely. It wasn't planned. It wasn't scripted. It was just Richard Gere being Richard Gere, and Julia Roberts lost it. Her laugh came out full force, and there was nothing anyone could do. The cameras kept rolling, but the scene was gone. What was left was pure, genuine joy, the kind of laugh you can't fake, the kind that comes from deep in your belly and takes over your whole body. And honestly, watching it is one of the most feel-good things you'll ever see. Then there's Megan Fox, who most people think of as super serious and cool. But even she couldn't keep it together during a scene in the movie This Is 40. She was trying to get through her lines, and somewhere in the middle of it, something went sideways and she just started laughing. She apologized, tried to collect herself, and then laugh again. It was a kind of moment that reminds you that no matter how polished someone looks on screen, behind the scenes they are still human. They still crack up. They still have to say sorry to the director and try again. Now let's talk about The Hangover, because that movie was basically one giant blooper reel from the very beginning. Ed Helms, who played the nervous and uptight dentist who had a particularly hard time in certain scenes. At one point, he was delivering a line about having a bachelor boys wine weekend, which, even just saying it out loud, sounded funny, and he completely lost it. He tried to keep a straight face. He really did, but there was no way. And then Zach Galifianakis, who is basically a human chaos machine, made things even worse. In another scene, someone asked him about what he was wearing, and his reaction turned into total comedy gold. The crew couldn't keep it together. The actors couldn't keep it together. And neither can you when you watch it. But the real crown jewel of hangover bloopers might be the scene between Ed Helms and Bradley Cooper, where something about the situation, something about the energy between them just made it impossible to be serious. They kept starting, kept laughing, kept starting again. And you can see it in their faces, that specific look when you know you shouldn't be laughing, but you absolutely cannot stop. We've all been there. Maybe in class, maybe in a meeting, maybe at a dinner table. That horrible, wonderful feeling of trying to hold it in and completely failing. Ed Helms and Bradley Cooper just happened to have cameras pointed at them when it happened. Speaking of not being able to hold it together, Robert Downey Jr. had one of the funniest moments ever when he was trying to say a line asking for a fat beat to beat his body to. Now, on paper that sounds fine, but the way it came out, the rhythm of it, something about the whole delivery just made him fall apart. Robert Downey Jr., one of the most confident actors in the world, the man who basically is Iron Man laughing like a little kid on set. It's wonderful. And then there's Zach Galifianakis again, who had a moment that can only be described as pure chaos. He was in the middle of the scene. Something unexpected happened. Apparently someone smelled his stomach, which is already the funniest sentence ever written, and the whole thing collapsed into laughter. It's absurd. It's weird. and it's completely hilarious. Now, Andy Samberg and Adam Sandler share a special kind of chemistry that's hard to explain. These two are both naturally funny people, but when you put them right next to each other in a close-up scene, things get dangerous. During one of their scenes together, Andy was trying to deliver his lines, and they were just too physically close, too aware of each other, and everything became funny. They cracked, they laughed, they tried again, they cracked again. That's what happens when two comedians try to act serious together. It almost never works, and the bloopers are almost always gold. Adam Sandler also had a legendary moment with Jennifer Aniston in Just Go With It. He said something completely unexpected, a line that wasn't in the script, delivered in the most casual way, and Jennifer Aniston's face went from professional actress to completely baffled human being in about half a second. She had no idea what to say. She just stayed. Then she laughed. And honestly, who could blame her? Adam Sandler has a gift for catching people completely off guard, and this was one of his finest moments. Paul Rudd is another actor who seems like he's always on the edge of laughing at something. He's got that kind of warm, mischievous energy where you just know he's about to say something ridiculous. And he did, in one blooper. He went on this hilarious riff about finding hair in homemade wine and the smell of a place that mixes crotch and Volkswagen, which is the most absurd combination of words ever put together, and the actress he was working with completely lost it. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't speak. She just laughed. And Paul Rudd looked so pleased with himself, like he knew exactly what he was doing the whole time. Seth Rogen in Superbad had one of those moments where something went wrong so many times that it became its own kind of comedy. He kept trying to get through a scene, kept breaking, and every single time he broke, it was funnier than the last. The beauty of Seth Rogen bloopers is that his laugh is contagious. Once Seth starts laughing, everyone around him starts laughing, and then it just becomes a room full of people completely losing control. You can't be around Seth Rogen breaking character and stay serious. It's scientifically impossible. There was also a wonderful blooper moment with Christopher Mintz-Plasse. You might know him as McLovin, where everything was going completely fine until a bee showed up on set. That's right, a bee. One small, uninvited flying insect destroyed the entire take. He panicked. The other actor told him to grow up, and then everyone burst out laughing because watching someone try to act tough while clearly terrified of bees is objectively one of the funniest things in the world. Jennifer Aniston had her own run-in with the unpredictable during filming. She was in the middle of a scene when something, possibly a dog named Katie, completely derailed everything. She kept calling for this dog, getting increasingly flustered, and the whole crew couldn't hold it together. That's the thing about animals on set. They don't care about your schedule. They don't care about your director. They are going to do exactly what they want, and if that means ruining a take, so be it. Ricky Gervais learned this the hard way during one of his projects, where an animal decided to do something incredibly inappropriate on camera. He tried to laugh it off, but there was no recovering. That was a cut, and everyone knew it. Jonah Hill in Superbad had lines so ridiculous, so completely over the top, that he could barely say them without cracking. There's one moment where he's talking about someone who looked him in the eye and suggested making a pube salad, and even the most professional actor in the world would struggle to get through that with a straight face. Jonah Hill is not known for being stoic, so you can imagine how that went. Then Bill Hader had a classic sequence where he kept trying to say sorry for something inappropriate, and every single take he'd get partway through and just lose it. Over and over and over again. He tried. He never made it. And the collection of all those failed attempts is one of the funniest blooper reels you'll ever see. Steve Carell is a comedic genius, but even geniuses have moments that break them completely. In Get Smart, he was trying to say a perfectly normal euphemism about needing to drop his kids off at a pool, and something about saying it in this particular context just destroyed him. He kept starting and stopping, laughing and composing himself, and then laughing again. It took forever to get through. And the crazy thing is that line isn't even that funny on its own. But the harder he tried not to laugh, the funnier it became, until eventually it was impossible for anyone in that room to be serious. And Hathaway is one of those people whose laugh is so big and so genuine that it sets off everyone around her. In the filming of The Devil Wears Prada, she had a hard time staying upright literally. She kept falling or stumbling, and every time she did, the laughter that followed made it impossible to go again right away. There's even a moment in The Princess Diaries where a fall actually made it into the final cut of the film, which tells you everything you need to know about how real and unscripted it was. Sometimes the most authentic moments aren't planned at all. Even Meryl Streep, the most decorated actress alive, the woman who has won more Academy Awards than almost anyone in history, breaks character sometimes. And when she does, it's somehow both surprising and completely delightful. She's not immune to the chaos of filmmaking. She messed up a line in one scene, and instead of being embarrassed, she just leaned into it. And in another moment during web therapy, something completely unexpected happened. Her bra came apart mid-scene. Rather than stopping, she just announced it out loud, laughed, and said she'd hold it together. That's Meryl Streep, ladies and gentlemen. Even her bloopers have class. Now we have to talk about Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill, because these two together are one of the greatest comedy pairings in recent Hollywood history. During the filming of 21 Jump Street, they brought absolute madness to the set every single day. There's a blooper where Channing Tatum starts giving Jonah Hill a massage on set completely out of nowhere, and Jonah's reaction is priceless. He's trying to figure out what's happening. He assumes it's someone else. He says the mystery person isn't very good at their job, and then he finds out it's Channing and loses it completely. The thing about Channing Tatum is that he commits. He doesn't halfway do anything. When he decided to give that massage, he really got in there. He dedicated himself to it. And that commitment is exactly what makes it so funny. The chaos of 21 Jump Street didn't stop there. Even Ice Cube, who was one of the most serious, no-nonsense faces in Hollywood, ended up in the bloopers reel. His giving this big, intense speech full Ice Cube energy, serious as a heart attack, and then someone messes up, and suddenly is laughing too. And seeing Ice Cube laugh when it's supposed to be intense is weirdly one of the most charming things ever captured on camera. Then there's a later scene with Channing Tatum and Ryan Reynolds in Free Guy, where they couldn't get through a simple scene because one of them kept breaking, and then the other would catch it, and then they'd both be gone. Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson are another legendary duo. These two have a friendship that goes beyond acting. You can feel the real affection between them in every scene. But that affection also means they know exactly how to make each other crack. In one blooper, they're in the middle of something serious, and someone makes a comment about hitting a wife, and the whole thing dissolves. Kevin Hart also had a moment where he genuinely seemed nervous, actually nervous, and his reaction to his own nervousness made everyone fall apart. What's great about Kevin Hart bloopers is that he wears everything on his face. There's no hiding what he's feeling. When he's embarrassed, you know it. When he thinks something is funny, you know it. He's completely transparent, and that's what makes him so easy to love. Paul Rudd had another great blooper where he made a noise at exactly the wrong moment and then tried to blame the chair. He was so committed to the chair alibi. He really wanted everyone to believe it was the chair. No one believed it was the chair. But the fact that he tried made it so much funnier. Then there's a scene in Dinner for Schmucks that absolutely destroyed any chance of professionalism. Someone described another character as a lioness, and the way that word came out, the way it was received, the groaning and the chaos that followed it was all too much. Nobody survived that scene with their dignity intact, and the blooper is better than anything that made it into the actual movie. Ryan Reynolds is a man who seems born to be in bloopers. He's quick, he's spontaneous, and he has absolutely no filter. In one scene, he turns something simple into complete disaster through sheer force of his own personality. And in another moment with Jason Bateman, they were trying to coordinate a simple physical movement turning left while leaning right, and it just didn't work. They kept going the wrong way. They kept laughing. They kept trying. They could not do it. Two very talented, very smart adults, completely defeated by a left turn. Keegan-Michael Key is one of those rare comedic forces who can break anyone, even the most controlled actor on set. During filming with Bryan Cranston, who played Walter White in Breaking Bad, a man who spent years being intense and terrifying, Keegan just slowly, silently moved his face as close as possible to Bryan's face. Closer, closer, until Bryan Cranston, the man, the legend, completely lost it. And once Bryan Cranston starts laughing, it sounds like the happiest thing in the world. Keegan did it again and again, and every time, Bryan broke. You can see in his eyes that he's trying so hard not to react, and it makes the moment even more beautiful when he finally can't hold it anymore. In Anchorman 2, Kristen Wiig had a scene where she was asked a simple question about her favorite food, and something about trying to answer it just shattered her. She stumbled over the words, apologized, tried again, stumbled again. It went on and on. She kept saying it was her first day, like that would explain it. And the more she apologized, the funnier it got. Kristen Wiig is one of the funniest people alive, and watching her genuinely fail to get through a line is somehow the most charming thing she's ever done. Chris Tucker in the Rush Hour films had a habit of accidentally calling Jackie Chan by his real name instead of his character's name. He'd get into a scene, things would be going great, and then out would come Jackie instead of Lee, and the director would have to stop everything. It happened multiple times. You can hear the exasperation in the director's voice each time Jackie's name is Lee. Jackie. Say Lee, but it kept happening. And somehow that made it funnier every single time. Aaron Paul made Bryan Cranston lose it regularly during Breaking Bad. In one moment, Bryan was trying to deliver a serious line about why something would work, and Aaron just couldn't say his part right. He'd try, mess it up, laugh, try again, mess it up again. And Bryan Cranston, who is a deeply professional actor, kept getting pulled into the laughter too. That's the power of a good blooper partner. You drag everyone down with you, and it's the best thing in the world. And then there are the moments that feel almost too good to be real. Like when Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix, two of the most serious, intense, method actors of their generation, were working together in The Master and suddenly couldn't stop laughing over something about cold and minty flavors. Two of the heaviest dramatic actors alive, completely undone by a ridiculous little phrase. They tried to keep going. They yelled at each other. They laughed. They tried again. It was perfect. What all of these moments have in common is something very simple and very beautiful. They're real. In a world of CGI and special effects and carefully crafted performances, bloopers remind us that underneath all of it are real people who laugh at dumb things, who mess up, who get surprised, who can't hold it together when something silly happens. And that's why we love them. Not just for the perfect performances, but for the messy, genuine, unscripted moments in between. These bloopers remind us that laughter is one of the most human things there is. It shows up when you least expect it. It doesn't care about your schedule or your deadline or your director screaming for another take. It just arrives, and all you can do is go with it. And maybe that's the lesson here. Maybe the best moments in life, like the best bloopers, are the ones that weren't planned at all. If this video made you smile even a little, if you found yourself laughing along with Julia Roberts or cracking up at Keegan-Michael Key slowly moving his face toward Bryan Cranston's, then do us a huge favor and hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second, and it means the world to us. And if you want more videos like this, stories about movies, actors, behind-the-scenes moments, and all the wonderful chaos that goes into making the films we love, then subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a thing. Share this video with a friend who needs a good laugh today, because laughter is one of the best gifts you can give someone. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.